Good evening. I'm Lynnie Godfrey, and this is Lynnie Godfrey's Straight No Chaser. And this is part two of the Broadway Luminaries, Michael Denby Cain, Adrian Bailey, and FRANZ Jones, who were, were so gracious years ago to allow me to interview them on the pilot that I was doing for a network called Lynnie in Your Living Room. And they so graciously said that they would come on. And so we did the first one. In our last installment, we did the first part, which talked about their careers a little bit and how they got to where they were. And that's on YouTube, and it's on Spreaker, and it's on so many other kinds of outlets. And now we're going to go back and finish this hour, or some. It's a little bit more than that. And we're going to catch them now talking about their careers and how it progressed and why I asked them to come on the show, what they had in common. So here we are. I'm going to share this and hopefully get this right so we can enjoy together this next hour, and then maybe talk about it a little bit at the end.
You started in musicals, then did plays. Michael, you did many musicals, my God, as did Adrian. I'm sick of Adrian. Every time you look at the show, Adrian was in it. Adrian, I think that you would get a show, and then you look at another show and say, oh, I think I'm going to be over in that show. So, you could see you in more than one show in a year.
It happened. Well, it was, the thing is, especially when I first started in the 70s, there were a lot of black shows and black tours and everything. Yes. I mean, there were seven black shows on Broadway at one time.
Yeah, opportunities. When you saw that a show was there, then you knew that, well, there's going to be a national company, there's going to be a regional company, then they need understudies, for all of those things. So you had the possibilities were there. We're trying to get to the point where that is something that is offering now, so that it's a little bit more, I think, plentiful for us to have offerings of roles in the theater now. But I want to get to the point where all three of you are here, not only because I love you dearly, but all three of you are here because I almost lost all three of you. Okay. And I want to know not the very, very specifics of everything that happened, but when did you know that you were going to be back on the road, not to recovery, but the road to being in the future? How can I articulate this? I've been trying to think about how to ask you this question. You all faced death, all three of you. I think that's something that the people watching now need to know. You all have. You all, in your stories, tell what you want to tell about that. But there came a time you go through recovery, but after recovery, there's a time when there's almost like a click, I believe, because I've watched family members, I've watched friends, where I'm going to make it here. I'm past this recovery, I'm going to be. What was your thinking like about that? Adrian, you start.
Well, a lot of people know I had my accident. I was doing Disney's Little Mermaid, and I fell, 40 feet to the stage.
Adrian, shut up. Yes, go ahead.
And when and blah blah blah, I didn't know what happened. I woke up on the stage in pain. I'm in the hospital, and I can, and I can turn my head and everything, but I can't move. I could bend my arms, but it's like I couldn't sit up or anything like that. So there, and I was in so much pain. It was excruciating. So I was really saying, Lord, please take me, because but then, they would come in every day. The doctor would ask me for the first month. He'd say, "Did you sit up today?" And I'd say, "No." He said, "Why not?" I said, "Because I couldn't. Every time I tried to sit up, I threw up." He said, "Well, you should sit." And he kept. And so I told him, I said, "Look," I said, "I don't need a pep talk from you." I said, "When it comes to sitting up, I said, I'm going to sit up better than anybody here. So you don't need to tell me that." I said, when I can do it, I'm going to do it." And so, so going through the therapy, they didn't think I would be able to walk again, but, and I just said, "No, I'm walking." So I think along with the dance training and having been in good shape, it really helped me.
How many years had you been dancing when it happened?
Probably 30. So I remember though at one point in my therapy, because I'm getting better, I'm excelling, they're getting used to me, and they say, "Adrian, just do 10, I do 30." I couldn't sing. I had no breath support, and so I would try to sing, and it's like, and I felt, I said I'll probably never sing again. And then one day I started to sing, and it started to come out. I could control it. So I rolled my wheelchair out into the hallway to this nurse, and she was so sweet. And I sang a song to her a cappella, and she cried, and I think that's when I thought, okay, I can see I'm really on the road to recovery now.
Yeah. There is a point, and I've watched it, but Michael, I'm going to you.
Okay.
Tell me the sequence of things that happened and when you thought the road was going to lead you to where you are now.
Well, I was sick.
How long before the first thing? How long had you been working?
I had a couple of different bumps. I had kidney cancer, and then I started having hip replacements from years of dancing and atrophy from that. And then, so it had been about 10 years, maybe 8, maybe 7 years that I had been sick since I had cancer in my kidney. But that wasn't, they took it out, but it left me with one kidney. I didn't know how important that would be. Okay. And so then when I got sick.
How long had you been dancing before this happened? I want to put it in perspective for people who just don't know.
Probably 25 years.
Okay.
25 years of working nonstop, really. And then I stopped dancing, actually, and the work stopped a lot. But we have other companies, we have other ventures, so I was doing other things in the meantime when I wasn't, working on Broadway. But then I said, like, the cancer came along, and then something else happened, and I got very, very sick. And they said, "We see this little thing over here, it's probably nothing, anyway, it turned into something, and I lost my other kidney. I had to go on dialysis, and I got something called C. diff in the hospital. And that's when everything just went to hell. And all of my numbers turned completely in the wrong direction. And one day a nurse actually came in and said, I'm concising things. A lot of stuff happened. But basically one day it was on a Sunday, and a nurse came and said, "We have one more test, I'll take you myself." So we went down for this test, and they rolled me out in the hallway. It was a long, dark hallway. And we had been laughing and talking and everything. And I knew that I was very sick, but I didn't know how sick. And so the woman came out and she said, completely sullen, and she said, "I don't think you're going to make it." And I said, "What does that mean? We were laughing a minute ago." She said, I think that your numbers are, I'm not supposed to say this to you, but your numbers are not good. And I don't see you making it. And she said, "I'm going to go get transport and for somebody to come and get you and take you back to your room." And I was in this long, dark hallway. And I know that it sounds like a movie, but a white light came on in the upper corner of the hallway. And that light stayed with me, and I don't want to cry when I say it, but it stayed with me for about 4 weeks. That light stayed with me through the whole team. When you're very ill, a team came in and said, we don't think that your numbers are to the point that your body, your organs are going to start shutting down. And one night I was hooked up to a lot of machines, and as one knows, when you're very sick, you're in a diaper, and it was a very bad situation. But this light was still there. It was in the middle of the night, and the only thing that occurred to me was to pray. I say God brought me to that place that I had to, I couldn't move. I wasn't going to leave that room. They said, this is it for you. They offered us hospice. They said long and short of it, there was nothing else to do but talk to God. And I don't know that it was so much a prayer, but it was a dialogue. And from that dialogue, that night, I thought, how am I going to do that? How am I going to die? How do you do that? And grace occurred to me. And grace stayed with me all through dialysis, all through everything, because I thought, if this is my last day, then I'm going to do the best I can. I may not be able to keep food down today. I may have a poopy diaper. I may do all these other things, but my spirit is going to be the best I can be. Even when I was on dialysis, there were people that were sicker than me. There were people that weren't as sick as me. But I thought grace can get me through this, and I can go. I need the grace to understand that if this is the day I'm going to die, because once you get on dialysis, it's a long sort of death. You have a long time. People are all dying around you. So that was 2.5 years of that. And so it is a natural, even though it's like a Band-Aid, they go, okay, you're not going to die today, but you know it's coming. And so I prayed for grace, and I prayed for the strength to go, I'm going to be kind to this person who's sticking me with these needles. In 40 minutes, he can't find my vein. But I'm going to be kind to him because he may be the last person that I see. So if I have messed up the rest of my life, I'm going to go to God with this on my mind, that I did the best I could today. And that is what stuck with me. When I got my kidney transplant 4 years ago, it's the only thing that has stuck with me. Let me have the grace, God, to get through today. Let me have the grace to help somebody today. If this is my last day, because kidneys don't last forever, my transplant won't last forever, I have the thought that whatever I can do to lift somebody up, whatever I can do to say a kind word, whatever I can do to say, have you thought about praying? Whatever I can do to advance my spirit, that's what I'm going to do, because I've been to that place where you honestly have to have a conversation with God. And I was a little ashamed that first time, because all I wanted was to be in show business. I had my husband, I had my little life, and I wanted to be in show business. And quickly when you're dying, you discover that show business is just a trickle of what you are. It is not even on the map when you're standing there in front of God going, can you take my soul? So I tried on dialysis to go, give me the grace to go, let me do 100% pull out the best I can right now, because this may be my last moment. So that's all.
That's enough, Michael.
That's really all. I mean,
but you know, I think what's important, and right before I get to Franz, I think what is really important is that people don't understand, those of us in the business don't understand that this is a calling also.
Oh, yeah.
Calling that we have, and what we have to go through in order to endure it. And when I think about my friends who have gone through this, and I have a bad day. For me, a bad day is maybe I didn't do all of the things that I had to do on a list. I think how trivial it all is.
Well, this is to put it in perspective, because I do it with dialysis. I don't know if you've ever seen anybody, I'm sure you haven't, but dialysis needles are a size 15. when you get a shot, that's a size 32 gauge needle. So a dialysis needle has a scoop on the end of it. So some people, they can find their veins, some people they can't. So
the hard stick. Yeah, some people are hard stick. Yeah.
Poke you for an extended period of time. So I always put it in perspective like this. Somebody is on dialysis right now. So even if I'm having a bad day today, I think, oh, somebody is getting their needles right now, and they are going through it right now. And so you need to get up off your butt and do better. Because
that's how I feel. Mm-hmm.
Somebody is not making it right now.
Exactly.
You have lungs, you have air, exactly. You have the ability to walk around. However it is, you may be broke down. You may have a hip that's out, you may have an and a but you got up.
What you said, and a Well, yes. But but you rise up. You do rise up.
Yeah.
Now I moved to my friend, FRANZ Jones.
Yeah.
Because I was not living in New York when I heard about FRANZ having a pause in his career. And I decided, well, I don't know what's going on, but I'm sure going to call up here and find the hell out. And I found out, I think Jeffrey Thompson gave me the phone number, and I talked to FRANZ, but that I did not know was the second time. FRANZ, take us back to I want everybody to know before, during, and then we're going to go to what you all are doing now. Right, Uncle Adrian?
Yeah!
You don't think I know. I know your business. Go ahead, FRANZ.
Well, the first thing, like Michael, I've had more than one thing happen. When I was 53, I had a bout with the big C. I found out that I had cancer. I had prostate cancer. And ultimately, I had to have a radical prostatectomy where they took my prostate out and part of my bladder. It wasn't pleasant, to say the least. At that time, it's really funny because when the doctor told me that I had prostate cancer, prior to that, I had seen a urologist because I've been having problems with urination and that kind of thing. It's a little too personal, but I'm willing to tell it. So when he finally told me cancer, I don't know, it didn't affect me like, oh my God, this is the end of my life. He even said, I thought you'd have more of a reaction, but it never occurred to me that this was going to end my life. I said, tell me what we need to do and we'll do it, and I'm moving forward. I had the surgery. After the surgery, I had what they call an interstem device placed into my body to help control me. I have had 5 surgeries from the interstem device because my body continues to reject it. But I continue to get them because I'm not going to be unable to walk around the streets and do the things I do. The last one seems to have taken, you were witness to that, Ms. Lee. It's been now, 2 years?
2 years.
Since that last one has been done, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then 7 years later, I was working a job. I actually got a job working for the city of New York in the Medicaid office of all places. And I went into work one morning and I went to open my computer and I could not remember the number to get in. And I kept going, trying. And something just occurred to me that it wasn't quite right. So I got everything together and I told my boss at the time, I said, well, I'm leaving because I don't feel well and I think something's going on. I called my aunt who lives out here in Brooklyn, who's with me now. I live with her now. And I said, meet me at the train station because something's not quite right. As I was walking to the train, I was going to get on the A train. I started to walk sideways. I could not keep a straight line, but I got on the subway, sat down in the first car with my head down, got off the train. My aunt was there. She took me to Methodist Hospital. When I got to Methodist Hospital, they asked me for my healthcare information. I was able to give it to them, and then everything went black. Found out I had a stroke. I was in and out for the next
12, 13 hours. A couple of times, I remember at one point, one of my aunt's friends, Miss Ernie, I was in a room, and I can remember being in a bed, and I looked up and I said, Miss Ernie, what are you doing here? She was praying over me. And then I went out again. Well, it turns out I had a stroke. I was in the hospital for about 5 days. I got home. When I was home, I started to have these terrific headaches. Felt like my head was about to explode. And I kept saying to my aunt, I need the pain medication. Please give me the pain medication. You're not helping me because I'm in this pain. I'd gone to use the bathroom, and I misjudged the space, and I fell and hit my head and started to bleed. My aunt freaked out until they took me by ambulance back to the hospital. It turns out 2 things had happened. I got an infection while in the hospital, which caused me to have an aneurysm. So that was the second brain bleed. I had a second operation, the craniotomy, 2 craniotomies within less than 10 days. After the second one, I lost the ability. I couldn't read, write. I knew my name. I knew who I was. I could speak. My walking wasn't great, but it never occurred to me that anything was going to end. I always knew I would come out of this. Just, I kept this thing in my head. You are coming out of this. You're going to go back and have your life. And I started to get my life back. A year to the day when this happened. I was actually back on the road of recovery. I was doing things again. I went to get a tire put on my car. And I had gotten a tire. I knew the guy at the tire shop. And I said, well, I'm going to go around the corner and get you some money to pay you for this. I didn't have enough in my pocket. I went around the corner to Chase Bank, which is literally around the corner from my house. And the whole right side of my body caved in. I couldn't move. I tried to call my aunt. I was able to dial the phone. A man walked by and I handed him the phone and I said, speak. And he told my aunt that something had happened to me. Turns out I had seizures. I had a series of seizures, the last of which was a grand mal. They called an ambulance. The ambulance came and took me to Brookdale Hospital, which is where I would not have liked to have gone, but that's where I went. They induced me into coma. I was in coma for 12 days, because they didn't have a neurologist on staff. They left me there. Eventually, they brought me out, and I lost those 12 days. But out of that, I found out from the previous operations, I had seen there was a space in my head. And the doctor had monitored me and had taken me off the medications, and they thought everything was going to be fine. Well, I had scar tissue form in my brain, and the scar tissue caused me to have seizures. So now I suffer from epilepsy, and I take medication for it, and I'm under control and have been ever since. And that was 2013. So this is 2020. So I've been taking that medication. I've been asymptomatic ever since. And I never once thought that this was the end of my life. I just felt like there was more for me to do. I needed to do it, and I'm not going until it's finished.
Well, now those are the pauses. So now I'm going to go round robin again and find out what you're doing now, since after the pause. Uncle Adrian, what is it that you have now discovered? What's different now about life that you are doing that was different when you were primarily dancing? Tell me now, what senses are different? What abilities do you have? How do you think differently? Tell me.
Well, I know one thing that really made a change in how I thought about things was the Barack Obama when he was elected, and it's like, and I really got involved in politics. It's thinking about it and what we should know, and so I became someone who taking a lot of Ubers and cabs. Engaging the drivers into conversations. Do you vote? And why?
Yes, we saw that on Facebook. Yes, Adrian.
Yeah. And that's like writing stories about it on Facebook. Because I found it fascinating. And then just recently, like you said, like Uncle Adrian, Arnisha Walker and Stephen Ackerman, they got this
fabulous.
Yes, fabulous people. They got this group together called Just One Step for Democracy. Democracy. So because of, I post a lot of things on Facebook, political things and little clips, and I've gotten known for adding to the clips. You know,
yes, that's a wonderful way of putting it.
my voice.
You edited very well. Go ahead.
And so them having heard and seen a lot of those, it's like they said, we'd like you to be a part of this group. And so they came with this idea of having me do this thing called Uncle Adrian's Corner, where someone asks Uncle Adrian a question and I answer. And Uncle Adrian is not always nice about it, but
No.
they kept telling me when we were rehearsing the first, and they said, be a little more curmudgeon. It's like, and so what really brought it out of me is when they said, think about something Meghan McCain said that made you angry.
One of your favorite people.
And that's when Uncle Adrian was really
Ooh, yeah. Okay. I think it is absolutely fabulous that, first of all, you have to tell people how we can catch up with Uncle Adrian. That's important, that we have people's attention about it. Where does Uncle Adrian appear? I saw it on Facebook. Is
Facebook,
that primarily?
Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, it's like social media. It's like it's going around. It's going to be a series. So we're just going to answer different questions about people have about politics. Gerrymandering, electoral college. We're going to do all those kind of things.
And how do people pose the questions to you? How do they do it?
They just basically they have a question for me, Uncle Adrian. How is do you have to? Why do you have to be 18 to vote?
But I'm just saying, say if someone in our audience wanted to ask a question, how do they get to you? How does that happen?
I think I can't say that I'm really sure, but it's like if you can find one step for democracy on
One Step for Democracy. Okay, yes.
And that's where you can pose your questions and
excellent. And we would love to have you answer our questions, of course. What other things are occupying you now, Adrian?
Well, for a long time, I would say, like when people say, "What are you doing?" It's like I would say, waiting to have my next surgery, because that's what it was for several years. It was like, constantly having surgeries, and going into that white room, looking up at people telling you, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm your anesthesiologist. Hi, I'm your nurse." I was so used to that. It's like, and I have to say in the last probably 4 years is when I could really breathe. Because even though I was doing things, pain would just sometimes just come to me, and I would just I could move sometimes, but I tried not to let it stop me. I have to say, being in the hospital, like one thing that really inspired me is like I had so many visitors and so many people that supported me, that they were, they said that downstairs when when people walked in, sometimes they go to the desk and they go, he's in so and so. They knew where people were going.
Yeah.
And so there were times even that I felt like, I was like, I'm kind of tired, but I felt like I couldn't let people down. Mm-hmm. And I think that kept me going. So, so I've done a few, I've sang some songs and some, Nickelbacks. We've done some, we did a Smokey Joe's reunion show in 2014 and at Feinstein's. And, and every now and then people call me and ask me would I do something. In terms of like really having a steady job, I don't have that yet. But I do always say, like I'm looking for, I want to make a difference. That's what I really, I keep thinking. I want to make a difference, because being in show business, like people come up to you, you don't know how you affect people. Mm-hmm. That someone sees you on stage, and for whatever they're going through in their life, sometimes like you caught their attention. It's like,
yes.
You have people say like, it was you that made me want to be in show business. Mm-hmm. Things like that you just
something
don't
that you did. Yes. Yes.
You know, you're up there doing your gig and hopefully doing it well. But you know, the people coming to you and it means something to them.
Exactly.
So you know that's you know. So I think I want to do something that's meaningful. That's what I'm going for.
It is a responsibility and a blessing at the same time. You know, to be able to work and to interpret other people's work, be a voice for them, and to affect young people, older people. They come up to you and they say, "Oh, I was in the audience when you did so and so and so and so and so and so, and it inspired me to do blah 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 blah." And you know, it is a responsibility, and we all take it very seriously, and that's why I love you all so much. Now, Adrian,
Can I just say this one thing though? I was coming out of Jay's Last Jam, and Diane Carroll had been there to see the show. And so we all walked out together. And so I was signing autographs, and Diane Carroll said, "Oh, you must sign autographs." She said, "Even if someone burns you with a cigarette."
You must.
What?
Wow.
Said,
What?
Was she speaking from personal experience?
Yes. She said one day she was signing autographs, and a man put a cigarette in her arm and said, "I just wanted to know if you would feel that."
Oh, okay. You know, well, as my mother would say, it takes all kinds to
You're not real to them on stage sometimes. It's like,
no, well, it's true. It's true. We are a part of a magical world. It's magic that we make. We make magic. And I think that people lose that sometimes and lose the importance of what it is that we do and the responsibility that we have. But the three of you remind me so much of what the responsibility is and what the dedication is. And every day, even coming into preparing for this in my mind, I think about you all so much and how you inspire me. And that's why I'm moving over to Michael, who tells me now, Michael,
what am I doing?
What are you doing?
Well, my husband and I, you guys know Joe Lantieri.
Joe, yes.
And we have several dance organizations. One is a strictly competition. Most of them are educational organizations, and I'm very proud that we take kids from the beginning parts of dancing through its education, all the way through till they're 18, and then we have programs to get them to college. We have a foundation to get them to college. It's wonderful. But I host our other company, which is purely competition. So I'm an MC host, a competition that we go out to 20 cities every weekend during the school year. We have a national, virtual actual national competition this evening I'm hosting.
Wow. Oh, wow. Joe is saying, hurry up. Yes.
No. I have my script there and everything. And we'll, after this, I'll go through that and put a suit on and do another thing.
How fabulous. How fabulous.
So that's a constant, and thank God for that, because that's been in my life for a very long time. And it's a mentoring thing, and I love it because you get to help kids. We've been doing that for a long time, and so
tell me the name of the organization. Tell me something.
The parent company is called New York City Dance Alliance. Okay. And City Dance Alliance Foundation is the college foundation, and Onstage New York is the arm of the company that I host.
Oh, wonderful.
So, it's a wonderful program for kids. Like I said, it's education based. We take them from their local schools to wherever they want to be in the performing arts. College programs, we have several college partners. We give out hundreds of thousands of dollars in college scholarships every year. Fabulous. So that's one part of what I do. The other part is me personally. So I've done a couple of club acts since I've been back from being sick, because I like Franz, and I'm sure Adrian too, Adrian, you said that you could not sing. The instrument was gone. And I had a psychiatrist once during my process of healing that said, write down 6 things that you can do if you don't pass away. And I still have that book upstairs. I don't think I wrote anything down on that page, because I sing and dance. That's what I do. And so her telling me that she actually was very callous. She said, honey, you're never going to sing again, because I had this rattle. I had fluid in my lungs, so I couldn't talk very much. I would cough. Yes. So she said, honey, you're never going to sing again. What are you going to do with your life? God has given me that back. So I've done a couple of club acts so far. I did the last one in October. Was scheduled to do some dates with some other performers, which hasn't happened yet, so I'm not going to talk about it out loud.
Okay.
But that could be a very nice job. And some different club act gigs around the country. But I'm going to do another act as soon as we get out of COVID land. I have one plan. And an album, a CD they don't do albums anymore, but we'll release a bunch of tunes on iTunes. And then we're going to take it from there, Lynnie, because like I said, this calling of service is very important in my heart. So I'm kicking around going to get to become a minister, going to seminary, because I do have something to say about what happens to you during the death process, how you digest that. So I don't know how God's going to use me to tie what I do singing wise with what I have to say to people. But one thing about being very sick, and I think all three of us know this, you have to wait on God. You can't go, I want this, I'm planning to do this. You go, okay, God, give me the strength to get up today and go, whatever it is, I got this.
Yes.
It may not be all good, but I'm going to do my best.
Well, what you hope is that you are able to accept whatever God's decision is for you.
Right.
That's it. It may not be what you wanted, but it's God's decision is for you. That's what. And
you just keep it moving. So, like I said, those are my short-term plans. And then after that, and we are of a particular age as well. So retirement is not off the table either.
Yes, but you divas are not going to retire, so don't even start thinking.
I'm talking about just a shift in this COVID has caused all of us to shift everything that we do.
Exactly, COVID and all of the things, all of the things that are happening to us, I think, in the society now is, I think, a sign that we had gotten to a point that we need to reshift where we are.
And I think everyone
and reconsider
will have a reshift of their world when we get out of it.
Exactly.
Have we ever been in a scarier time than this, really?
No, I don't think so. I thought about it, and I'm coming to you, Franz, but I thought about it when I thought how frightening it must be for people who have to go to work and are not sure if their work is a very safe place for them to be, and to have to come home to their mate and their children and everybody else. I've never thought about being afraid to go to work. Maybe it was a pain in the butt sometimes. Oh God, I got this show. Why? You pray. Oh, you want a show. Then you get a show. Then about a year into the show, you kind of go, okay, I'm a little tired of the show. Well, maybe it's reassigning how we see things. Did we ever think that we would be afraid to go to work?
Or that work wouldn't be there.
Or that work would not be there.
I mean, I scared.
And how are we dealing with where it has to morph into the work that we are going to be capable of doing, in the next 5 years? We have to have plans, 5-year plans that make it feasible for us to work some kind of way, to make that magic some kind of way. And see, both of you, and Franz is going to say this too, are making magic, but it's not in the same way you were making magic, but you're making magic. And that's what's important. That's what we all have to grasp, I think. We have to find other ways to make the magic and not stop saying, oh, we're going to go back. There's no back. We got to go forward. We must go forward and then take what we had and morph it into whatever we need it to be. But this is not about me and my opinions. I'm going to move right on over to my friend Emil and talk about where you are today.
Well, after everything that happened, by the way, to what Michael was talking about, one of the things that I didn't mention in terms of knowing I was going to come back, when I spent 2 months in rehab. I was first at Methodist, then I went to Rutland, which is also in Brooklyn. When I was in Rutland, they sent me to a psychologist. I had to go every day and talk to this psychologist to see where my brain was and this sort of thing, and he tested me. At the end of the testing, I came back the next day and he gave me a written report. And in the written report, it said that I was a Black man of average intelligence. And that was one of the things that let me know that I was going to come back, because I read him. Average intelligence. I have never had an average intelligence in my life. I've always thought highly on everything. And I got the numbers to prove it, baby. Oh, he retested me. And then he said, oh my God, I don't know how I must have misread the results. I said, I guess you did.
Right.
Because
you corrected it.
You can call me anything, but stupid is not one of them. I've been one of the smartest people I know. Any rate, moving forward. In terms of work, two acting friends come immediately to mind, Dathan Williams and Jeffrey Thompson. Dathan Williams did a reading of Shakespeare's Measure for Measure and asked me to be in it. And at the time I said, oh no, I can't possibly act any longer. This is finished. I can barely walk. I don't know if I can read. And he says, yes, you're going to do this. So he gave me the part of the provost and I worked on it and I was able to do it. Then Jeffrey did a production of Coriolanus and had me come and audition. And I gave the worst audition of my life. That's another story. I'm not going to get into a long, drawn-out thing about it. But at any rate, I did something I shouldn't have done. But Jeffrey cast me anyway. And it turned out I was playing one of the senators. I had another actor playing the senator with me. In the middle of the run, he lost his voice. So I ended up having to say his lines and my lines, which let me know that, number one, I could learn lines and then learn them on the fly and be able to make it work. My senses came back. I have been, prior to this, I've always had a number of jobs. One of our mutual friends who has always called me the working diva, and that's Maurice Hines, has always said, Franz, you're the working diva, because you always find a job. You'll always find a job anywhere. I found years ago, I answered an audition looking for actors for industrial work, and I've done that off and on ever since. A lot of it is working in hospitals as what they call a standardized patient, where you go and play the patient of the week for doctors, doing different diseases, different protocols, this sort of thing. I've also done it and played doctor myself. I've been filmed doing it. A lot of it is live. But I've done that off and on now for about almost 15 years. But lately, since all of this happened, I have done a great deal of it. I now do it for a number of hospitals. I started out doing it for Bellevue, NYU, but I do it for NYU Nursing School. I do it for Downstate Hospital in Brooklyn. I do it for Columbia Presbyterian. I've done it for the Veterans Hospital. I've done it for Lutheran Hospital, you name it.
Good gosh.
Yeah, that. And then another dear friend of mine, a lady who I call Fearless Leader sometimes, was performing way out in Pennsylvania. And a mutual friend, Julius Hollingsworth, was in Coriolanus with me. And Julius said, oh, Lynnie Godfrey is doing her act. And I said, oh, where? I'd love to go. It was in Pennsylvania. See, slick Julius knew I had a car. So we drove to Pennsylvania. I watched her act. She was, as of course, magnificent as always.
Oh.
Afterwards, I went backstage. And she told me of an idea of hers that she wanted to put together a theater company and work as a director with actors. So Big Mouth says, oh, Lynnie, that sounds wonderful. Well, whatever you decide to do, you let me know. What any way I could possibly assist you, I will be there and I'll come. So then she had an audition for actors. And I saw it on backstage and on the Equity website. And so I wrote her a note and I said, well, should I come in on audition? She said, no, just come. So I came, she put me behind the desk, and we watched actors. Again, I said, well, whatever you need, let me know. So then she called me again, and I went to Pennsylvania, and they were putting together this reading of this show. So I just started helping. From there, she formed a company. She said to me one day, well, I want you to be my associate director. And I thought, well, Lynnie, I just want to help. No, you'll be associate director. I am now the associate director of Essence of Acting. We've done a number of readings and one full production. We're actually going to be doing something on the 19th of this month, a piece we've done before called Greenwood that concerns the tragedy that happened in Oklahoma in 1921. So I've been doing that and acting myself. I've done a number of productions, mostly Shakespeare. It's interesting how the Bard has helped me come back to being able to speak. Because if you can do Shakespeare, you can do anything at all. I haven't been in a musical in over 17 years. I haven't thought about being in one because I know that, well, number one, I don't move like that any longer. I walk with a bit of a limp. I haven't really sung. I mean, I know I can sing, but it's just that I haven't had a chance to do it. But I never really was a musical comedy guy. I mean, I did musicals only because I was able to work. But once I got out of it, they told me, get out, your voice is shot, go, and never come back. And I've been in dramatic acting ever since. Not to say I would never do a musical, but they don't want me, so hey, what am I to do?
So you say.
When will they be doing them again?
Well, see, there you go. But I don't sing like most. I don't do R&B and pop and all that. I have a legit voice. So unless they're going to do a version of Oklahoma and let me play I don't know, Cord Elam or somebody, there's no roles. I mean, I've aged out of a lot of that stuff. You know, I was in Big River, of course, as some of you know, but I can't play Jim. I'm too old to play that now. I've done best, but I'm too old for that stuff. You know,
theater's at a distance.
Yeah, theater is very much at a distance.
Yeah, it is. Traditional theater is.
No, I mean, doing this is what theater is now. This is live performance for the most part. And I think people have to get used to the new normal. You have to understand that this is the theater that you're used to, going into a place and seeing people. That's over. That's over.
It'll have to come back, don't you think, though? I mean,
well, it'll come back in certain forms, but first, Adrian, it has to be to a point where people are very comfortable in doing it.
Right. Well, they need a virus. They need a vaccine.
Yes, they need a vaccine. You know,
and it is the least important thing in the world right now. I mean, for what's going on in the world, being able to come and see us sing and dance or act is not that important in the great scheme of things. Yes, art itself is important, and art will always be here, and art will morph as it needs to. But the theater that we know, it's not. It's going to be a long time, I think, before we see that again. And I think a lot of people in the theater have to adjust themselves to it and find new ways to use their skills. Otherwise, they're going to be out.
But all those shows, it's like they're coming back. It's like, I don't know when they're going to do it. It's like, but there's something about actors sometimes in terms, well, you know, like you can always find an actor, you know, like when it comes to the union and you say, we want this much and we got to have these rules, stuff like that, you can find somebody say, I'll do it for 2 cents. You know, it can happen.
Well, you know, I not to discourage anybody, first of all, for being in the arts, because the arts have been absolutely fabulous to all of us.
All of us.
You know, but there is a realistic there are levels that we have to talk about, and the political levels, the science levels, and then the practical levels and financial levels. And right now, what I think about is the thing that is the most priority is financial, and for us to really be comfortable, if the science needs to lead us to a vaccine so that we can get back to what we are more comfortable with. But science isn't leading us right now. Finance is leading us. So until those two positions are juxtaposed, then we have to really try to find out how we're going to exist in this environment. That's what I'm saying. Oh my God, yes. Do I want theater to be everyone? Well, I won't say everyone. I want theater to live. It's a magic place, but it can't be magic if people are not comfortable.
But
if they think that they're going to come in and they're not going to go out well, or in 3 weeks they're going to be sick. That's not going to be something. But of course, that's a whole nother show that we can talk about.
The science of it has to take over, because we have to. If we don't have a vaccine, see, the other part about me getting a kidney is they kill your immune system. Right. So I haven't been out of the house but once. I've been to the hospital to get my blood work done. Mm-hmm. I can't leave my house. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of people that are immune compromised like me.
Exactly. A great deal. Yeah.
Franz, you shouldn't be leaving your house either. Because
well, no, I do. I go out. I take a walk every day. I stay as far away from people as I can.
Absolutely. But that's the thing that's going to stop everybody, is that there are a lot of us that are over 50 years old that we need a vaccine. We
Yeah.
need to get a vaccine because otherwise there's no semblance, not let alone theater. I'm talking about your mailbox going to feeling comfortable going anywhere.
You know,
Right.
I was thinking, you know, usually when you go to the theater, there's always someone in the theater doing this.
100%.
You know,
Yes, in the most inopportune moment.
Yeah,
But yes,
it's like
yes.
I can see in the future people will be like, "You gotta go."
Yes.
Well,
They would, you know, they'll stop the performance and say, this person must leave. And it may be nothing, but until we get to the point where we can trust that it is nothing, what we do is based on us being together and having that relationship with a live audience. We can't do that, I think, with complete confidence until science really makes it possible.
Right.
And
Science money can do a whole lot of things, but science has got to make us comfortable.
You'll need a sneeze guard for the first rows.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
The work I do at the hospitals right now is all online. That's how we're able to continue to work, is because I work with students by Zoom.
Yes.
So they can do a virtual physical. They can ask me my symptoms. We can talk about whatever disease and that sort of thing. But that's how they're handling it. This was work that I used to do in person. They literally would touch you.
Now it's a chance. Now I have to say this was supposed to be about an hour, and of course we're nearing an hour and a half, and I knew that it was going to do that. But I want to thank, first of all, we have people who are looking live. You see me turning to the right a lot because people are writing a lot on Godly Entertainment. They were writing at the very beginning. Oh no, Lynnie, we see you. Keep talking. Don't pause. You're on live. And they've been just doing some wonderful things. One, Charles White says, "What incredible stories! I'm awed by the strength of these artists." It's, Charles is a wonderful playwright that I work with. We've got people who are, Mark Westland, who is in California, a good friend, says, "What fantastic stories and magnificent life experiences you all have shared. A really great show." And then he tells me that I look fabulous, and he has to do
always.
that. Because I pay it. No.
Always.
I have to tell you, I'm tempted to say that we're going to do a part 2 of this, and I think we will. I think you all are absolutely the most inspiring, loving people that I know. I don't want to cry talking to you all because you mean so much to me. I want you to take care of yourselves. It's very important to me that you take care of yourselves and that we all get to the other end of this and be on a stage together and, and laugh and joke, because we've all done that together. So I just want to say, to end this, I want to thank you all. I love you, the three of you, very, very much. And I thank you, Voice of God, D'Ambrose. Thank you, D'Ambrose, Voice of God.
Hey, hello.
Hey, what up, D?
What's happening?
And thank you, everyone who watched live, everyone who's participated.
We love you, Lynnie, Godfrey. We love you, D'Ambrose.
Love you. The grand
Thank you.
This star right here is like, every time I've seen her, she looks like she's coming off a movie set.
Thank you very much.
Always been that fabulous person.
Always.
Thank you. I love you all. I think that, I want to do it some more. I want people to know your names just like they know Denzel Washington and Samuel L. Jackson. And I want them to know who you are and what we've all, been through, and what it takes to be us. We are here and we deserve a voice. And they're not just a few voices. There are a lot of voices that need to be heard. So I'm going to keep doing this until we hear some more voices. So I love you all. And I'm getting ready to close this down now. So wave bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye, Michael.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Franz.
Adrian,
Talk to you all soon now.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Guys.
Well, we have 5 more minutes before the hour is up, and I can say to you that it is watching this again 5 years later. These wonderful performers, great inspirations to all of us. I wish we could play this once a week just to remind us how blessed we are. We know that we, in the interim, have lost our lovely Adrian Bailey. But we haven't lost him. You see, he's here to remind us of his resiliency, of his brilliance, and in some things in film that have recorded and photographs that have captured his career and his talent. Of course, Michael is still carrying on, doing all the wonderful things that he and Joe do, and FRANZ Jones is presently my associate director and still working the way he said. So you see, time does go on, but we do have progress. I'm at a loss for words as I look at that video. And we were at the very beginning of COVID, not understanding what was going to happen, not knowing about any vaccines, not knowing about the masks and all the horror that we went through. And now we're on the other side of that. And art is still here, and art survived all that. And I am so blessed to be able to remind you of all those things and have the evidence of this in this recording. And I really can't thank you enough for joining me and watching this. I hope you watch both part 1 and part 2. They are a little long, but they are who we are. And the arts will always be here. We are so blessed to have this calling, and we go forward. Now, Straight No Chaser will only be doing a couple of shows in December. Next week is December the 10th, and I hope to find another archival show because I had some guests scheduled, but their schedules changed. And so we're going to reschedule them for January. But another journey next week of wonderful visitations of people that I can get together, or maybe one or two of the afterthoughts of several people that are familiar to bring us back to the memories. But I didn't think that it would affect me like this, but it has, and I thank you for the opportunity to be able to look at that with you, and I hope you review it again and again, and I will see you on the radio. This is Lynnie Godfrey for Lynnie Godfrey Straight No Chaser, and thanking Lynnie in your living room for that moment, and that might come back again. We'll see about that in a different version. But thank you so much for joining me this evening. We will see you another time, and we will have some different things for us to review together. And then we'll go back to our regular schedule and have the live interviews. So, Lynnie Godfrey signing off. I will see you on the radio.